She fainted in the kitchen, but her 6-year-old son incidentally dialed a number that turns out to be his millionaire CEO ex-husband who abandoned her while she was pregnant. "Get out." Maya's voice was barely above a whisper, but the venom in those 2 words could have stopped a charging bull. She lay in the hospital bed, pale as the sheets beneath her, 4 lines trailing from her arm, and her dark eyes burned with 7 years of rage directed at the man standing in her doorway. Dominic Ashford, billionaire CEO, master of boardrooms and billion-dollar deals, stood frozen. His heart, which had just survived the terror of almost losing a woman he never stopped loving, now shattered under the weight of her hatred. "Maya, please. I did not know. I swear to you, I did not know about Lucas. If I had known, I would have torn apart the world to find you both." Maya laughed, but there was no humor in it. Only pain. Only years of exhaustion and sacrifice and lonely nights wondering if she had made the right choice. "You did not know? You did not know that the woman you threw away was pregnant with your child? You did not know that while you were planning your perfect society life with your mother, I was giving birth alone in a hospital where no one even knew my real name? I never threw you away." Dominic stepped closer despite the warning in her eyes. "Maya, what are you talking about? I spent 6 months searching for you. I hired investigators. I nearly destroyed myself trying to find you. Liar." The word hung between them like a blade. "I heard you, Dominic. I heard you and your mother in that room. I heard her plan to destroy me with fake photographs and scandal, and I heard you say it. 2 words. I understand. You agreed to ruin me. You agreed to throw me away like I was nothing." Dominic's face went white. "You heard that conversation? Every word. Every cold, calculated word about how I was a liability. How our baby was an anchor tying you to someone beneath your family's standards. I heard it all, and I left before you could execute whatever sick plan you had agreed to. Then you did not hear what came after." Maya froze. "You did not hear me tell my mother that if she ever spoke about you that way again, I would walk away from the company, the family, everything. You did not hear me threaten to expose her involvement in 3 financial scandals if she so much as looked at you wrong. I told her I understand because I finally understood who she really was. I finally understood that she would destroy anyone who threatened her control over my life. And I decided in that moment to choose you, Maya, to protect you, to fight for you, no matter what it cost." The silence in that hospital room stretched for an eternity. Maya's hands trembled against the thin blanket. Her lips parted, but no words came. Everything she had believed for 7 years, every assumption that had guided her decisions, every wall she had built around her heart, all of it crumbled in the space between his words. "Why should I believe you? Because I am here. Because when a child called me from your phone, a child I did not even know existed, I dropped everything to come to him. Because looking at Lucas is like looking at every dream I gave up hope of having. Because I have spent 7 years alone, Maya, unable to move on, unable to stop loving you, unable to understand why you left without giving me a chance to explain." A tear slipped down Maya's cheek. "I was pregnant. I was scared. And I heard the man I loved agree to destroy me. I would have died before I let anyone hurt you. I would have given up everything, the company, the money, the name, all of it. You and our child were all that mattered. Then why did you not fight harder to find me?" Dominic moved to the edge of her bed, close enough that she could see the wetness gathering in his own eyes. "I tried. God, Maya, I tried. But you did not want to be found. You changed your name, moved constantly, worked jobs that did not require documentation. You became a ghost. And eventually I had to accept that maybe you were gone because you wanted to be gone. That maybe I had failed you in some way I could not even understand. 7 years. Her voice broke on the words. "I spent 7 years believing you betrayed me. 7 years raising our son alone. 7 years working 3 jobs just to keep us alive while you lived in your penthouse and ran your empire. And I spent 7 years dying inside, not knowing why the only woman I ever loved vanished without a trace. Have you ever discovered that everything you believed was wrong? Have you ever realized that a single misunderstanding destroyed the life you were supposed to have? Stay with me, because this story of love, loss, and second chances is just beginning. And what happens next will prove that sometimes fate gives us one more shot at everything we lost. If you believe in the power of redemption and the hope that love can survive even the deepest wounds, hit that subscribe button right now, because Maya and Dominic's story is about to take a turn that neither of them saw coming. But to understand how they ended up in that hospital room, we need to go back. Back to a kitchen in Brooklyn. Back to a moment when everything changed. The afternoon light filtered through the narrow kitchen window of Maya Rivera's small apartment in Brooklyn, casting long shadows across the worn linoleum floor. The building was old, the kind of place where the radiators clanged at night and the walls were thin enough to hear the neighbors argue about who forgot to buy milk. But it was home. It was theirs. Maya stood at the counter, her hands trembling slightly as she measured flour into a chipped ceramic bowl. The recipe card propped against the sugar canister had belonged to her grandmother, the handwriting faded but still legible. Vanilla cake with buttercream frosting, Lucas's favorite. Tomorrow was his 7th birthday. She would give him a homemade cake even if it killed her. The irony of that thought would haunt her later. 3 jobs, 12-hour days, cleaning houses for wealthy families who barely acknowledged her existence, teaching dance classes to little girls whose parents dropped them off without a second glance, transcribing medical records until 2 in the morning, her eyes burning from the computer screen. And still, it was barely enough. Barely enough to keep the lights on. Barely enough to put food in the refrigerator. Barely enough to give Lucas the childhood he deserved. But she would not complain. She never complained. Maya cracked an egg against the bowl's edge, watching the yolk slide into the flour mixture. Her reflection stared back at her from the small mirror hanging near the refrigerator. Dark circles under her eyes. Cheekbones more prominent than they should be because she had skipped dinner 3 nights this week so Lucas could have seconds. Hair pulled back in a messy bun because she had not had time to wash it properly in days. She looked nothing like the dancer who had once commanded stages, nothing like the woman who had caught a billionaire's eye at a charity gala 8 years ago, nothing like the girl who had believed in happy endings, but she was still standing. That had to count for something. "Mommy, can I help stir?" Lucas appeared at her elbow, his dark curls falling across his forehead, in that unruly way that made him look perpetually mischievous. His eyes, though, those striking amber eyes that did not come from her side of the family, those were his father's eyes, looking up at her with innocent enthusiasm. Every time she saw those eyes, she remembered. "In a minute, baby. Let me just finish measuring the sugar. You look tired, Mommy." The observation was delivered with the matter-of-fact honesty that only children possessed. No judgment, just truth. Maya smiled, reaching down to ruffle his curls. "I am a little tired, sweetheart, but I am going to make you the best birthday cake you have ever had. Even better than the store one Tommy got." Tommy was Lucas's best friend, whose parents had bought an elaborate 3-tier dinosaur cake for his birthday party last month. Lucas had come home talking about it for days. Maya had seen the price tag on similar cakes at the bakery downtown. It was more than their grocery budget for 2 weeks, even better than the store one. "Because this one is made with love." Lucas grinned, that gap-toothed smile that made every sacrifice worth it. "I like love better than dinosaurs anyway. God, this kid. This perfect, brilliant, beautiful kid who had no idea how much his mother had given up for him. Who had no idea that somewhere across the city, his father lived in a penthouse worth more than Maya would earn in 10 lifetimes. "Okay, Mommy, I am going to go draw a picture while you finish. I'm making you a birthday card too, even though it is not your birthday." "That is very sweet of you, baby. It is for being the best mommy. I want you to know." Maya's throat tightened. She bent down and pressed a kiss to his forehead. "I already know, sweetheart. Now go draw your picture. I will call you when it is time to stir." Lucas bounded out of the kitchen, his small feet pattering against the hardwood floors of their tiny apartment. Maya watched him go, her heart so full of love it physically ached. She turned back to the counter, reaching for the sugar, and then the room tilted. It started slowly, almost imperceptibly, a slight dizziness that she attributed to standing too long. She gripped the counter edge, waiting for it to pass. It did not pass. The edges of her vision darkened, narrowing like a camera lens closing. Her legs felt suddenly hollow, unable to support her weight. She reached for the counter, missed, and felt her fingers close on empty air. Oh no, not now. Please not now. But her body had finally reached its limit. Months of insufficient sleep, skipped meals, and relentless work had taken their toll. Her heart was beating too fast and too slow at the same time. Her brain was screaming for oxygen it was not receiving. Lucas. His name was the last word on her lips before the world went dark and she crumpled to the kitchen floor. The bag of flour she had been holding exploded on impact, sending a white cloud billowing through the small kitchen. It settled on her dark hair, on her pale face, on the linoleum around her like snow in December. She did not move. Lucas heard the crash from the living room. "Mommy." He set down his crayons and walked toward the kitchen, expecting to find his mother laughing about dropping something. She was always telling him that she was clumsy when she was tired. But when he reached the kitchen doorway, he stopped. His mother was on the floor, surrounded by flour, not moving. "Mommy." No response. "Mommy." He ran to her side, his small hands shaking her shoulders with all the strength his 6-year-old body could muster. Her head lolled to the side. Her eyes stayed closed. Her skin was cold and pale, almost gray, and her breathing was so shallow he could barely see her chest move. "Wake up. Please, wake up. Mommy, you have to wake up." But she did not wake up. Lucas felt something he had never experienced before. Real fear. Not the kind that came from bad dreams or the dark closet in his bedroom. This was different. This was the kind of fear that made your whole body shake and your mind go blank and your heart feel like it was going to explode. Call 911. That is what you are supposed to do in emergencies. His mother had taught him that. She had made him memorize their address, made him practice what to say if something bad happened. He had thought it was silly at the time. Nothing bad ever happened to Mommy. He scrambled for her phone on the counter, nearly dropping it twice because his hands were shaking so badly. The screen was locked. Password. What is the password? His birthday. She always used his birthday for everything. He typed the numbers with trembling fingers. Wrong. He tried again. Wrong again. Come on. Come on. On the third try, the screen unlocked, and Lucas nearly sobbed with relief. But finding the phone app was another challenge. His vision was blurred with tears, and the icons kept swimming in front of him. He scrolled frantically, looking for anything that might help. His thumb slipped. It caught on a contact he had never seen before. Just a single letter. D. Before he realized what had happened, the phone was already dialing. 1 ring. Please pick up. Please pick up. 2 rings. His mother still was not moving on the floor beside him. 3 rings. Hello? The voice that answered was deep and authoritative and completely unfamiliar. But Lucas did not care. It was a person, a real person who could help. Please help me. My mommy fell down and she will not wake up and I do not know what to do and there is flour everywhere and she is on the floor and she will not open her eyes and I am really scared. The words came out in a single breathless rush, punctuated by sobs that Lucas could not control. There was a sharp intake of breath on the other end of the line, a pause that lasted half a second, but felt like forever. Then the voice changed, became calmer, more controlled, like whoever this was had suddenly realized the gravity of the situation. "Okay, buddy, I need you to take a deep breath for me. Can you do that?" Lucas tried. It came out shaky and ragged, but it was a breath. "Good. That is very good. Now, I need you to tell me your address. Do you know where you live?" "Building 4B on Maple Street in Brooklyn. Apartment 7. "Perfect. You are doing so well. I am sending help right now, okay? But I need you to stay on the phone with me. Do not hang up. Okay. What is your name?" "Lucas. Lucas Rivera." Another pause on the other end. Something shifted in the stranger's voice, though Lucas was too panicked to notice. "Lucas, can you tell me if your mommy is breathing? Put your hand near her nose and tell me if you can feel air coming out." Lucas did as he was told, pressing his small palm gently beneath his mother's nose. For a terrifying moment, he felt nothing. Then, a tiny whisper of warmth against his skin. Yes, she is breathing. But it is really small. Okay, that is good. That means her body is still working. The ambulance is on its way. They are going to help her. You did exactly the right thing by calling. I did not mean to call you. Lucas's voice cracked. I was trying to call 911 and I pressed the wrong button. Sometimes the wrong button turns out to be the right one. Listen to me, Lucas. You are being incredibly brave right now. Your mommy is going to be so proud of you when she wakes up. When, not if. The stranger said when. Lucas held onto that word like a lifeline. What is your name? My name is Dominic. Dominic. Lucas repeated the name, filing it away in his memory. Are you a friend of my mommy's? Another pause. Longer this time. I used to be. A long time ago. Why are you not friends anymore? That is a complicated story, buddy. But right now, the only thing that matters is taking care of your mommy. Can you tell me what she looks like? Is her face a normal color? Lucas looked at his mother, really looked at her. She is really pale, like when I had the flu and threw up a lot, and there is flour on her face from when she fell. Okay, is she lying on her back or her side? Her back. I want you to very gently turn her head to the side, okay? Just so that if she gets sick, she will not choke. Can you do that? Lucas reached out with trembling hands and carefully, so carefully, turned his mother's head. Her dark hair fanned out against the white dusted floor. I did it. You are doing amazing, Lucas. Absolutely amazing. I can hear sirens now. Can you hear them too? Lucas listened. Yes, faint but growing louder. The most beautiful sound he had ever heard. Yes, I hear them. Good. They are almost there. I want you to go unlock the front door so the paramedics can get in. But keep the phone with you. Do not hang up. Lucas ran to the front door, fumbling with the lock until it clicked open. Then he ran back to his mother's side, pressing the phone against his ear. I unlocked it. Perfect. You did perfect. Now we just wait together until they get there. The sirens were loud now. Right outside the building. Mr. Dominic? Yes, Lucas? Is my mommy going to die? The question hung in the air, raw and terrified. Lucas could hear the stranger breathing on the other end. When he spoke again, his voice was thick. The doctors are going to do everything they can to help her. And you helped too. You called for help. You stayed calm. You turned her head so she could breathe better. You might have saved her life, Lucas. Do you understand that? I just want her to wake up. I know, buddy. I know. And she will. Mothers like yours, the ones who work so hard and love so much, they do not give up easily. The apartment door burst open and paramedics flooded in, their equipment clattering as they surrounded Maya on the kitchen floor. Lucas backed into a corner, still clutching the phone, watching with wide eyes as strangers, attached wires to his mother and spoke in urgent voices he did not understand. Lucas, are they there? Yes, they are helping her. Good. I am on my way too, okay? I will be there soon. You are coming here? Yes, I am coming. I will not let you face this alone. Those words, from a stranger on the phone, a stranger who knew his mother from a long time ago, a stranger whose voice cracked when he talked about her. Lucas did not understand any of it, but somehow he believed him. Across the city, Dominic Ashford stood frozen in the backseat of his town car, his phone still pressed to his ear as his driver weaved through traffic at speeds that should have gotten them arrested. The Manhattan skyline blurred past the tinted windows. Holiday lights twinkled from every storefront. The world was preparing for Christmas, oblivious to the fact that Dominic's entire existence had just been turned upside down. Lucas Rivera, a son, his son. It had to be. The timeline was perfect. The boy's age matched exactly. Maya's phone number, the one Dominic had never been able to bring himself to delete, was the number Lucas had called from. And those eyes. Lucas had not described himself, but somehow Dominic knew. He knew that if he looked at that boy's face, he would see amber eyes looking back at him. Ashford eyes. His grandmother's eyes, passed down through generations like a genetic signature. 7 years. He had a child who had been alive for 7 years, and he had not known. Had not been there for a single milestone. Had not heard first words or witnessed first steps or held a small hand on the first day of school. Maya had been pregnant when she left him, or she had gotten pregnant just before the divorce was finalized. Either way, she had carried his child, given birth to his child, raised his child, all without telling him. Why? The question burned in his chest alongside the terror of losing her before he could get answers. He remembered their last night together with agonizing clarity. She had been quiet at dinner, distracted in a way he had attributed to stress about his mother's latest campaign of subtle cruelty. He had tried to reassure her, told her that once they were married, Victoria's opinion would not matter. She had smiled, but it had not reached her eyes. The next morning, she was gone. No note, no explanation, just an empty closet and a phone that went straight to voicemail. He had spent 6 months searching for her. Every investigator in the city, every contact he had, every resource his billions could provide. But Maya Vasquez had simply ceased to exist. What he had not known, what no one had known, was that she had become Maya Rivera. That she had been running not from him, but from what she believed he had become. "Sir, we are almost there." The driver's voice pulled him from his thoughts. They were in Brooklyn now, passing brownstones and bodegas and the kind of neighborhood where Dominic's car stood out like a sore thumb. Building 4B, Maple Street, apartment 7. He had memorized the address the moment Lucas spoke it. The ambulance was already there when they pulled up. Red and blue lights painted the brick facade of an aging apartment building that had seen better decades. Paramedics were loading a stretcher through the front entrance, and Dominic's heart stopped when he saw the dark hair spilling over the white sheets. Maya. He was out of the car before it fully stopped, running toward the ambulance, with a desperation he had not felt since the day she disappeared. "Sir, you cannot be here." A paramedic blocked his path, one hand raised to stop him. "That is my wife." The lie came instantly, convincingly. The truth was more complicated, but complicated could wait. "That is my wife, and my son is inside alone." The paramedic hesitated, then nodded toward the building. "The boy is with the neighbors. 3rd floor, apartment 3C. We could not leave him alone. Is she going to be okay?" The paramedic's expression was professionally neutral. "We are doing everything we can. She is stable but needs immediate care. We are taking her to Brooklyn General." Dominic nodded, committing the hospital name to memory. Then he turned toward the building, taking the stairs 2 at a time until he reached the 3rd floor. The door to apartment 3C was open. An elderly woman stood in the doorway, worry creasing her face. "Are you family?" "Yes." "I am here for Lucas." She studied him for a moment, taking in the expensive coat, the perfect haircut, the watch that cost more than her entire apartment building. Her eyes narrowed with suspicion. "Maya never mentioned any family. It is complicated. But I spoke to Lucas on the phone. He called me when his mother collapsed. I promised I would come." Something shifted in the woman's expression. Recognition, perhaps, or acceptance. "He is in the living room. Poor thing has not stopped shaking since the ambulance took his mama." She stepped aside, and Dominic entered the small, warmly decorated apartment. Crocheted blankets, family photos on every surface, the smell of something savory cooking on the stove. And there, sitting on a worn floral couch with his knees pulled up to his chest, was Lucas. The boy looked up when Dominic entered, and time stopped. Those eyes, amber and bright and filled with tears, looking at Dominic with a mixture of fear and hope that broke something fundamental inside him. But it was more than the eyes. It was the stubborn set of the chin, inherited from generations of Ashford men who refused to back down. It was the dark curly hair that Dominic himself had sported as a child, before his mother insisted on shorter, more respectable cuts. It was the serious expression, too old for such a young face, that spoke of a mind already processing the world in ways other children could not understand. This was his son. There was no doubt, no question. Looking at Lucas was like looking into a mirror that showed him his own childhood. "Are you the man from the phone?" Lucas's voice was small but steady, braver than any 6-year-old should have to be. Dominic knelt down to the boy's level, putting them eye to eye. "I am. My name is Dominic. I promised I would come, and here I am. Is my mommy okay?" "The doctors are taking very good care of her. They are going to fix whatever made her fall down. She works too hard." Lucas's lower lip trembled, but he fought against the tears. "She forgets to eat sometimes. I try to make her sandwiches, but I'm not very good at it yet." The words hit Dominic like physical blows. Maya, his Maya, was skipping meals, working herself to collapse, while he lived in a penthouse with a private chef and more food than he could possibly eat. "I'm going to make sure she does not have to work so hard anymore." The promise escaped before he could think better of it. But looking at Lucas, looking at this child who had clearly been carrying weights no 6-year-old should bear, Dominic meant every word. Lucas studied him with unsettling intensity. "How do you know my mommy?" "We were friends a long time ago. Very good friends. Why are you not friends anymore?" Dominic searched for words that would make sense to a child without burdening him with adult complications. Sometimes people have misunderstandings. They think they know what the other person means, but they get it wrong. And if they do not talk about it, the misunderstanding grows until it pushes them apart. Lucas nodded slowly, processing. "That happened to me and Tommy once. He thought I stole his Pokemon card, but I did not. We did not talk for a whole week. Then I showed him that I had my own card all along, and he felt silly for being mad. Exactly like that. Except Mommy and I had a much bigger misunderstanding, and we did not get the chance to show each other our cards. Are you going to show her now? Dominic's throat tightened. I'm going to try. The elderly neighbor who had been listening from the kitchen doorway cleared her throat. I called the hospital. They said Maya is stable, but they are running tests. You should probably take the boy there. He will not rest until he sees his mama. Can you take me? Lucas looked up at Dominic with those amber eyes, so much like his own, so full of desperate hope. Mommy says I am not supposed to go with strangers. But you came when I called, and you sound like you really care about her. So maybe you are not really a stranger. Dominic felt his heart crack open. I would like to think I am not, but it is up to you, Lucas. I will not make you do anything you are not comfortable with. Lucas was quiet for a moment. Then he slid off the couch and walked toward Dominic, small hand extended. Okay, let us go see Mommy. Dominic took the tiny hand in his own, and something clicked into place. Something that had been missing for 7 years. A piece of himself he had not known was lost until this moment. Together, they walked out of the apartment and toward an uncertain future. The ride to the hospital was quiet, except for Lucas's occasional sniffles. He sat in the back of the town car, pressed against Dominic's side with a trust that seemed almost instinctive. The driver kept glancing in the rearview mirror, clearly curious about the small child who had suddenly appeared in his employer's life, but he knew better than to ask questions. Dominic spent the drive watching his son, the way his brow furrowed when he was thinking, the way his fingers drummed against his knee in a rhythm that suggested nervous energy, the way he kept looking at his mother's phone as if willing it to ring with good news. Tell me about your mommy. Dominic finally broke the silence. What is she like? Lucas's face lit up despite the circumstances. She is the best mommy in the whole world. She works really hard so we can have our apartment and food and stuff. She teaches me dance moves sometimes, even though she says her body is too tired to dance like she used to. She reads me stories every night before bed, even when she has to work on the computer after I fall asleep. And she makes the best hot chocolate with extra marshmallows. She sounds wonderful. She is. Lucas paused, then added, she gets sad sometimes, though. She tries to hide it, but I can tell. Especially on holidays or my birthday. She looks at me funny, like she is seeing someone else. Dominic's chest ached. Does she ever talk about your father? Lucas shook his head. She says some families look different. That ours is just her and me, and that is enough. But I see the other kids with their dads, and I wonder sometimes. She has this letter in her drawer. I asked her once who it was, and she said it was just an old friend who could not be part of our life anymore. She looked really sad when she said it. Dominic's initial, saved in her phone all these years. Lucas, can I tell you something? Okay, I think your mommy has been very brave for a very long time. And I think maybe she has been carrying a heavy weight all by herself because she thought she had to, but she does not have to anymore. Lucas looked up at him with those impossible eyes. Are you going to help carry it? If she lets me. If you both let me. Yes. The hospital loomed ahead, its emergency entrance blazing with light. The driver pulled up to the door, and Dominic helped Lucas out of the car. They walked through the automatic doors together, hand in hand, into a sterile world of beeping machines and hurried footsteps. And with every step, Dominic felt the weight of 7 lost years pressing down on him. 7 years he could never get back. 7 years of his son's life that had unfolded without him. But maybe, just maybe, he could be there for the years to come. If Maya would let him. If she could ever forgive him for a betrayal he had never actually committed. To understand why Maya ran all those years ago, you need to understand what they had before everything fell apart. You need to see the love that burned so bright before misunderstanding drowned it in shadows. 8 years ago, Maya Vasquez was fire and grace personified. At 24, she had already performed with 2 major dance companies and was being courted by a prestigious ballet in Paris. Her talent was undeniable, the kind that made audiences hold their breath and critics struggle for superlatives. When Maya danced, the world disappeared. Nothing existed except the music, the movement, and the story her body told. But talent did not pay New York rent. So like most dancers, Maya supplemented her income with appearances at galas and benefits. Events where wealthy patrons wrote checks and artists performed like beautiful decorations. She hated those nights. The way the rich looked through her instead of at her, the champagne she was not allowed to drink, and the hors d'oeuvres she was not allowed to eat. But the money was good, and money meant she could keep dancing. The Ashford Foundation annual gala was the biggest event of the season. Black tie, A-list, the kind of night where a single donation could fund an entire arts program for a year. Maya had been hired to perform a contemporary solo during the cocktail hour. 5 minutes of her soul on display for people who would probably not even watch. She poured everything into those 5 minutes anyway. The piece was about longing, about reaching for something you could never quite touch, about the space between desire and fulfillment. She danced like her heart was breaking, because in some ways it always was. Art demanded that kind of vulnerability. When she finished, breathless and trembling, the applause was polite but distracted. Exactly what she expected. What she did not expect was the man waiting for her backstage. He stood in the shadows of the wings, tall and impeccably dressed in a tuxedo that probably cost more than her annual salary. Dark hair swept back from a face that belonged on magazine covers, amber eyes that caught the stage lights and seemed to glow, and in his hand 2 glasses of champagne. That was extraordinary. His voice was deep, smooth, the kind of voice that commanded boardrooms and seduced women with equal ease. Maya should have been intimidated, should have stammered or blushed or done any of the things women apparently did in the presence of Dominic Ashford. Instead, she lifted her chin. That was my job. He laughed, a genuine sound, surprised out of him, that transformed his perfect face into something almost boyish. Most people at these events just simper and agree with me. He extended one of the champagne flutes toward her. You are not going to be most people, are you? Maya took the glass, more because she was thirsty than because she wanted it. I do not even know who you are. Something flickered in those amber eyes, something that looked almost like relief. Good. Let us keep it that way for as long as possible. That should have been the end of it. A charming interaction, a funny story to tell her roommates. The time some rich guy tried to flirt with her backstage and she shut him down. But Dominic Ashford, it turned out, was not easily deterred. He showed up at her next performance, and the one after that, always with champagne, always with that smile that suggested he found her fascinating in a way that had nothing to do with her body or her dance. You are stalking me. Maya confronted him after the 3rd appearance. I prefer to think of it as persistent courtship. You do not even know my name. You have not told me your name. Why should I? You are just another rich guy looking for entertainment. Dominic's smile faded slightly, replaced by something more serious. I have been to 100 events like this, seen 100 dancers just as technically skilled as you, but I have never seen anyone perform like that. Like you are ripping your own heart out and showing it to the audience. Like the dance matters more than the applause. That is not entertainment. That is art. And I would very much like to know the artist. Maya studied him for a long moment, looking for the lie, looking for the angle. She did not find one. Maya, my name is Maya Vasquez. Dominic's smile returned, warmer this time. Dominic Ashford, though, I suppose you have figured that out by now. Actually, no. I do not really follow society news. He laughed again, that surprised, delighted sound. I think I might be in love with you already. Do not be ridiculous. You do not even know me. Then, let me remedy that. Have dinner with me. I do not date billionaires. Have coffee with me then. Very egalitarian, very casual. Just 2 people getting to know each other over overpriced lattes. Why do you want to know me so badly? Because. Dominic stepped closer, and Maya caught the scent of something expensive and subtle. His cologne, his shampoo, whatever it was, it made her head swim. Because for 3 events now, watching you dance has been the only time I have felt anything real. And I would very much like to feel that again. Maya knew she should say no. Every sensible bone in her body screamed that this was a terrible idea. Rich men did not date dancers. They collected them, used them, discarded them when something shinier came along. But something in Dominic's eyes made her hesitate. A loneliness that mirrored her own. A hunger for connection that his billions clearly could not buy. 1 coffee. And if you bore me, I am walking out. Fair enough. What followed was the most extraordinary 6 months of Maya's life. Dominic was nothing like she expected. Behind the polished exterior was a man who worked too hard and felt too deeply and struggled daily against the expectations of a family that valued legacy above love. He had been raised to run an empire, not to be happy, taught to perform success, not to experience it. With Maya, he learned to feel again. They danced in his living room at midnight, her teaching him steps while he tripped over his own feet and laughed harder than he had in years. They cooked together in her tiny apartment kitchen, burning pasta and setting off smoke alarms and not caring at all. They talked for hours about everything and nothing, art and philosophy and childhood dreams and the wounds that never quite healed. He attended every one of her performances, even the tiny ones in black box theaters that held 50 people. He sat in the front row every time, watching her with an expression that made her feel like the only woman in the world. And she saw him, really saw him, not the billionaire, not the CEO, the man underneath who was terrified of ending up like his father, cold and distant and alone. "I love who I am when I am with you," he told her one night, tangled together in her cramped bed. "Then be him all the time." "I am trying. God, Maya, I am trying. But my family, my mother, she has expectations." "What are your expectations?" He was quiet for a long moment. "You, just you, for the rest of my life." The proposal came on the rooftop of her apartment building. December, Christmas lights strung haphazardly along the fire escape, the sounds of the city below, cold concrete beneath his knees as he knelt before her. "I know I am difficult." His voice shook in a way she had never heard before. "I know I work too much, and I am terrible at expressing emotions, and my family is going to make your life complicated. But I love you, Maya. I love who I am when I am with you. Please spend the rest of your life helping me become that person all the time." She said yes through tears. And for one brief, shining moment, everything was perfect. Then she met Victoria Ashford. The Ashfords were old money, the kind of family whose name appeared on hospital wings and museum galleries, and the kinds of social registers that ordinary people did not even know existed. They had been rich for so many generations that they had forgotten what it felt like to want for anything. Victoria Ashford, Dominic's mother, had been groomed from birth to marry well and maintain appearances. She had succeeded spectacularly at both. Her husband had died young, leaving her with control of the family fortune and an iron grip on her only son's future. She had plans for Dominic, specific plans that involved suitable women from suitable families with suitable bloodlines. Maya Vasquez was not part of those plans. Their first meeting was at the Ashford townhouse on the Upper East Side. Maya wore her nicest dress, the one she had bought for auditions at prestigious companies. It cost more than a week's groceries. In the Ashford living room, it looked like a costume. So, Victoria's smile was porcelain perfect and just as cold. "You are the dancer." "I am." Maya kept her voice steady. "I have been dancing professionally for 6 years." "How?" "Artistic." Victoria's gaze traveled slowly down Maya's body, assessing and dismissing in a single glance. "And where did you say your family was from again?" "My mother emigrated from Colombia when she was 18. She worked 3 jobs to put herself through nursing school. She is the strongest person I know." Victoria's smile tightened almost imperceptibly. "I am sure she is." It must have been quite a change, coming from that background to this. She gestured around the room, at the antique furniture and original artwork, and the kind of casual luxury that Maya could never hope to afford. "Every background has its strengths, Mrs. Ashford." "Indeed. Though I do wonder." Victoria picked up a delicate teacup, taking a small sip. "A dancer's career is so short, is it not? What happens when the body gives out? What will you do then?" "I suppose I will find out when the time comes." "And if the time comes before my son grows tired of playing artist? What happens to him then? Stuck with a wife who has no skills, no connections, no ability to move in the circles required of an Ashford?" "Mother," Dominic's voice was sharp as he entered the room. "That is enough. I am simply having a conversation with your little friend, darling. Getting to know her. You are interrogating her. There is a difference." Victoria set down her teacup with a soft clink. "I am protecting you. That is what mothers do. We see things that love blinds our children to. You see what you want to see, what you have always seen. Anyone who does not fit your narrow definition of acceptable. I see a woman who has nothing to offer you except a pretty face and a body that will fail her before she turns 35. I see someone from a world so different from ours that she cannot possibly understand the responsibilities that come with being an Ashford. I see a mistake, Dominic, A mistake you will regret. Maya stood up. I think I should go. No. Dominic took her hand. Mother, Maya is going to be my wife. You can either accept that and treat her with the respect she deserves, or you can lose access to your only son. Those are your options. Victoria's eyes narrowed. You would choose a stranger over your own blood. I would choose love over cruelty. Every time. The ride home was silent, except for Maya's quiet crying. Dominic held her hand the entire way, his jaw tight with fury. I am so sorry. His voice broke. She is a monster. I knew she would not make it easy, but I did not think she would attack you like that. She is right about one thing. Maya wiped her eyes. I do not understand your world. I do not want you to understand my world. I want you to help me build a new one where people are valued for who they are, not what they have. That is a beautiful idea. It is our idea, and we will make it real. Together. Maya wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him. But Victoria Ashford had planted seeds of doubt that would grow in the shadows. Seeds that would blossom into the tragedy that followed. The campaign started subtly. Whispered comments at social events about Maya's modest background. Concerns voiced to mutual friends about whether a dancer's career was stable enough for an Ashford wife. Questions about her family's medical history, her education, her ability to move in the circles that Dominic's future demanded. Maya tried to brush it off, tried to focus on her relationship with Dominic, on the life they were building together. Then she discovered she was pregnant. Maya stared at the positive test with trembling hands. Her period was 3 weeks late. She had been too busy with rehearsals and wedding planning to notice at first. But now, looking at those 2 pink lines, the truth was undeniable. A baby. They were going to have a baby. Fear and joy warred inside her. She had not planned this. They had not discussed timelines. But somehow, impossibly, a tiny life was growing inside her. A child. Dominic's child. The beginning of the family they would build together. She waited until he came home from work, his tie loosened and exhaustion lining his face. But when he saw her expression, all weariness vanished. What is wrong? What happened? Nothing is wrong. Maya handed him the test. Something is very right. Dominic stared at the stick. For a moment his face was completely blank. Then it crumpled into the most beautiful smile she had ever seen. Maya. His voice cracked. Maya, are you serious? We are going to have a baby. We are going to have a baby. He lifted her off the ground and spun her around, laughing with a joy that erased years of careful control. This is the best news I have ever received. Maya, we are going to be parents. We are going to have a family. She clung to him, laughing and crying at once. You are not upset? We did not plan this. Upset? I am thrilled. This child is going to have everything, Maya. Love and support and 2 parents who actually want to be parents. Everything I never had. What about your mother? Dominic's expression hardened briefly. My mother does not get a vote in our family. She will accept this or she will not be part of our lives. Either way, you and this baby are my priority now. Always. Maya believed him. In that moment, in his arms, with his child growing inside her, she believed every word. But Victoria Ashford was just getting started. The call came 3 weeks later. Maya was napping on the couch, exhausted by morning sickness that lasted all day. The phone rang, and she answered groggily. Miss Vasquez. Victoria's voice was ice and venom. We need to talk about my son. I have nothing to say to you. Then you will listen. I know about the pregnancy, and I want you to know that I will do whatever it takes to protect my family's legacy. This child will not be born in Ashford, not while I have any power to prevent it. You do not have any power over us, do I not? I have resources you cannot imagine. Investigators who have already uncovered your mother's immigration records, your father's criminal history. Every piece of your past that you might prefer stayed buried. Maya's blood ran cold. My father has no criminal history. Does he not? Falsified documents are so easy to arrange. Just like photographs that suggest a woman has been less than faithful to her fiancé. You would not dare. I would do anything to protect my son. Anything. You are a temporary distraction, Miss Vasquez. Nothing more. And when I am finished with you, Dominic will see you for what you really are. A gold digger. A liar. A woman unworthy of the Ashford name. The line went dead. Maya sat frozen on the couch, her hand pressed against her still flat stomach. Her mind raced through the implications of Victoria's threats. The woman had money, power, and clearly no moral boundaries. But she also had Dominic. And Dominic loved her. Dominic would protect her. She had to tell him about this call. Had to warn him about his mother's plans. But before she could reach for the phone, exhaustion overwhelmed her. The pregnancy was draining every ounce of energy she had. Her eyes drifted closed. She would tell Dominic when he got home. She never got the chance. If you are feeling the weight of this moment, you are not alone. Maya trusted the wrong instincts and ran from the wrong assumptions. But before we discover what really happened, I need you to do something for me. Hit that like button right now. Not because the algorithm needs it, though it does, but because stories like this deserve to be heard. Share this video with someone who believes in second chances, and drop a comment telling me, have you ever made a decision based on something you misunderstood? I read every single comment, and I cannot wait to hear your stories. Now let me tell you what Maya heard that night. The words that destroyed her faith and sent her running into 7 years of lonely darkness. 3 days after Victoria's threatening phone call, Maya found herself at the Ashford townhouse. Dominic had asked her to meet him there after his evening meeting with the family lawyers. Something about estate, planning and trust funds. Boring financial details that made Maya's eyes glaze over. She arrived early, letting herself in with the key Dominic had given her. The house was quiet, the staff clearly dismissed for the evening. Maya wandered through the elegant rooms, still uncomfortable in a space that screamed wealth she would never possess. Voices drifted from the library. Victoria's voice, cold and precise, and Dominic's, responding. Maya froze in the hallway, hidden from view by a large potted plant. She knew she should announce herself, knew that eavesdropping was wrong, but something in Victoria's tone made her blood run cold. This child will be a liability, Dominic. Victoria's words were sharp as daggers, an anchor that ties you to that woman permanently. We need to act before it is too late. Maya's hand flew to her mouth, stifling a gasp. Her other hand pressed against her stomach, protecting the tiny life that Victoria was discussing like a problem to be solved. What do you suggest, Mother? Dominic's voice was steady, too steady. Maya could not see his face, could not read his expression. She could only hear the words. The foundation gala is next month. If photographs were to surface, photographs suggesting Miss Vasquez has been less than faithful, public sympathy would shift entirely. Maya felt the world tilt. Fake photographs, proof of an affair she had never had. Public humiliation designed to destroy her reputation and free Dominic from an engagement his mother did not approve of. This was the plan. This was what Victoria had been building toward. And Dominic. What would Dominic say? He loved her. He would never agree to something so monstrous. Would he? The silence stretched for an eternity. Then Dominic spoke. I understand. 2 words. Just 2 words. But to Maya, hidden in that hallway with her hand pressed against the child Victoria wanted to erase, those 2 words meant everything. I understand. He understood his mother's plan. He agreed with it. He was going to let Victoria destroy her with fake photographs and manufactured scandal. The man she loved was going to throw her away like garbage. Maya did not wait to hear more. She fled that house on silent feet, her heart shattering with every step. By the time she reached the street, tears were streaming down her face. By the time she reached her apartment, a plan had formed in her desperate mind. She had to disappear, had to protect herself and her baby from the Ashford machine that would crush them both. That night, while Dominic was still at the townhouse, Maya packed a single bag. She took her passport, her savings, the few pieces of jewelry her grandmother had left her. She left everything else behind, everything except the child growing inside her, the child she would protect with her last breath. By morning, Maya Vasquez had ceased to exist. What Maya never knew, what she could not have known from her hiding place in that hallway, was what happened after those 2 words. I understand. Dominic's voice had been flat, controlled, the kind of tone he used in business negotiations when he was about to deliver a killing blow. I understand exactly who you are now, Mother. He continued, and I want you to understand something too. Victoria's smile was triumphant. Good. I knew you would come to your senses eventually. If you ever speak about Maya that way again, if you so much as look at her wrong, I will walk away from this company. This family, this entire legacy you care so much about. I will take every piece of evidence I have about your involvement in the Henderson scandal and the falsified tax documents from 2015 and the bribes you paid to suppress father's medical records, and I will give it all to the press." Victoria's face went white. "You would not dare." "Try me." Dominic stood, towering over his mother with a fury she had never seen. "Maya is going to be my wife. That child is going to be my heir, and you will either accept them with grace and genuine warmth, or you will never see either of us again. Those are your options. There are no others. Dominic, be reasonable. I am being perfectly reasonable. I am telling you the consequences of your actions. What you do with that information is up to you." He left his mother sitting in stunned silence, but when he arrived at Maya's apartment, she was already gone. No note, no explanation, no goodbye, just empty closets and a phone that went straight to voicemail. Dominic searched for her for 6 months. Every investigator money could buy, every contact in every city where she might have fled. He barely slept, barely ate. His company nearly collapsed from neglect while he chased the ghost of the woman he loved. He never found her, and eventually, destroyed by grief and guilt, he had to accept that she was gone, that somehow, some way, he had failed her so completely that she had chosen to disappear rather than face him. He never knew about the conversation she had overheard, never knew that she had heard only half of it, never knew that she had spent 7 years believing he had agreed to destroy her when he had actually been preparing to save her. And now, 7 years later, they stood in a hospital room with 7 years of misunderstanding between them and a child who had just learned that the stranger who saved his mother was actually his father. The truth was finally out. The question was whether it had come too late. The hospital room was silent, except for the steady beeping of Maya's heart monitor. The truth hung in the air between them like smoke, impossible to ignore, impossible to clear. Maya stared at Dominic with an expression that shifted between shock and something that might have been hope. Her hands trembled against the thin hospital blanket. Her mind raced through 7 years of assumptions, 7 years of anger, 7 years of raising their son alone, all of it based on a misunderstanding. "I left because I thought you betrayed me." Her voice was barely a whisper. "I spent 7 years hating you for something you never did." Dominic moved closer to her bed, his own eyes wet with unshed tears. "And I spent 7 years wondering what I had done wrong, wondering why the woman I loved vanished without a word. I thought I had failed you somehow. I thought maybe my mother had gotten to you and I had not been able to protect you. She did get to me." Maya laughed bitterly. "She called me a few days before that night, threatened to fabricate evidence against my family, threatened to create fake photographs proving I had been unfaithful. I was terrified, and then you heard her proposing exactly that plan to me, and I heard you agree." Dominic sank into the chair beside her bed, his head falling into his hands. "2 words. I said 2 words and you heard betrayal. But Maya, I was about to destroy her. I was about to threaten everything she held dear to protect you. If you had stayed for 10 more seconds, you would have heard me tell her that if she ever touched you, I would burn her world to the ground. But I did not stay. I ran. You were scared. You were pregnant. You were facing a woman who had made it her mission to destroy you. Of course you ran." Maya shook her head slowly. "I should have trusted you. I should have confronted you. I should have given you a chance to explain. And I should have told you about my mother's previous threats. Should have warned you about how far she was willing to go. We both made mistakes, Maya. We both failed each other. The weight of that shared failure settled over them. 7 years. A son who had grown up without his father. A woman who had worked herself to collapse. A man who had lived in lonely luxury while his family struggled in a Brooklyn apartment. So many wasted years. Where do we go from here? Maya asked finally. I do not know how to process any of this. Yesterday, you were the villain of my story. Today you are telling me you were the hero all along. I was never a hero. Dominic looked up, meeting her eyes. Heroes do not let the people they love disappear. Heroes fight harder. I gave up, Maya. After 6 months, I gave up looking for you. You thought I wanted to be gone. I thought I had hurt you so badly that running was the only option you had left. I thought my love was not enough to make you stay. Your love was the only thing that ever made sense. Maya's voice cracked. Being with you was the happiest I have ever been. And then it all fell apart, and I convinced myself it was all a lie, that you never really loved me, that I was just a phase you were going through before settling down with someone your mother approved of. There was never anyone else. Dominic's voice was fierce. Not in 7 years. Not ever. I could not move on because moving on would mean accepting that you were gone, and I was never willing to accept that. You are telling me you have been alone for 7 years? I am telling you that the only woman I have ever loved vanished, and no one else could ever compare. I am telling you that every relationship my mother tried to push me toward felt like a betrayal. I am telling you that I kept your number in my phone and called it every year on your birthday, just to hear your voicemail, just to hear your voice. Maya closed her eyes, tears streaming down her cheeks. I changed my voicemail years ago. I was afraid you might somehow track me through it. I noticed. Dominic's smile was sad. It broke my heart all over again. The door opened and Lucas appeared in the gap, his small face uncertain. Can I come in? I want to see Mommy. Maya opened her eyes and smiled through her tears. Come here, baby. I am okay. I promise. Lucas ran to the bed and climbed up carefully, mindful of the wires and tubes. He curled against his mother's side, his dark curls pressing against her shoulder. Mr. Dominic stayed with me the whole time. He made sure I was not scared. Maya looked at Dominic over their son's head. He did? He talked to me on the phone when you fell down. He came to Mrs. Patterson's apartment to get me. He brought me to the hospital and held my hand in the waiting room. Lucas paused, then added, He is really nice, Mommy. I like him. Maya's throat tightened. I am glad he was there for you, sweetheart. Me too. Lucas yawned, the exhaustion of the day's trauma finally catching up to him. Can we go home now? I want to sleep in my own bed. Soon, baby. The doctors need to make sure Mommy is all better first. As Lucas drifted off against his mother's side, Maya and Dominic sat in the quiet of the hospital room, watching their son sleep. He is perfect. Dominic's voice was barely audible. I cannot believe how perfect he is. He has your eyes. Maya's own voice was soft. Every time he looks at me, I see you looking back. Does he know? About me? Maya shook her head. I never told him anything about his father. I said some families look different, that ours was just the two of us. But now I do not know what to tell him. How do I explain that the man who saved us today is the father I kept from him for 7 years? Maybe you start with the truth. Dominic leaned forward, his eyes intense. That his parents loved each other very much but had a misunderstanding that kept them apart. That his father never knew he existed but would have moved mountains to be with him if he had known. And what happens after the explanation? What happens tomorrow and next week and next year? Do you disappear back into your penthouse and leave us to pick up the pieces? Is that what you think I would do? I do not know what to think anymore. Everything I believed was wrong. I do not know who you are now, Dominic. I knew who you were 8 years ago. But that man is gone and I do not know who took his place. Dominic was quiet for a long moment. Then let me show you. Let me prove that I am still the man you fell in love with. Better, actually, because I have spent 7 years learning what really matters. And what matters is not the company or the legacy or any of the things my mother tried to convince me were important. What matters is this. You, him, the family I did not know I had. How do I trust that? How do I trust anything after what I have been through? One day at a time, one promise kept at a time, one moment of showing up when I say I will. I do not expect you to forgive me overnight, Maya. I do not expect you to pretend the last 7 years did not happen, but I am asking for a chance to be in Lucas's life, a chance to help support you both, a chance to prove that love, real love, does not give up just because the road gets hard. Maya looked at her sleeping son, at his dark curls and amber eyes and the peaceful expression on his face. He had been so brave today, so strong for a 6-year-old facing his worst nightmare. He deserved to know his father, and she deserved to know if the man she had loved was still in there somewhere, underneath 7 years of separation and pain. One step at a time. She finally said, You can be in Lucas's life. You can help, not because I cannot take care of us alone, because I have been doing that for 7 years, but because he deserves to know where he comes from. And us. There is no us. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I need time, Dominic. Time to process. Time to rebuild my understanding of what happened. Time to figure out if I can ever trust you again. I will give you all the time you need. Whatever it takes. However long it takes. And I need you to understand something. Maya's voice hardened with the fierce protectiveness of a mother. If you hurt him, if you make him love you and then disappear, I will destroy you. I do not care how much money you have or how powerful your family is. I will find a way to make you pay for breaking his heart. Dominic held her gaze without flinching. If I hurt him, I will deserve whatever you do to me. But Maya, I am not going anywhere. Not this time. I lost you once because of a misunderstanding. I lost 7 years of my son's life because I did not fight hard enough to find you. I am not making those mistakes again. The nurse entered then, checking Maya's vitals and updating her chart. She smiled at the sleeping child curled against his mother. He is a brave one, your son. Held it together better than most adults would have in that situation. He is extraordinary. Dominic agreed, and there was such pride in his voice that Maya felt something shift in her chest. Maybe, just maybe, he really had changed. 3 days later, Maya was discharged from the hospital with strict orders to rest, eat properly, and avoid stress. The irony of that last instruction was not lost on her. Avoid stress, with a billionaire ex-lover suddenly back in her life, with a son who was asking increasingly pointed questions about the nice man who visited them every day, with a body that had betrayed her through sheer exhaustion. Right, no stress at all. Dominic had offered to put them up in a hotel, had offered to move them into a better apartment, had offered to hire a full-time nurse and housekeeper and anyone else who might make Maya's recovery easier. She had refused everything. I need to go home, to our home. I need Lucas to feel like things are normal, even if nothing is normal anymore. Dominic had accepted her decision without argument, but he had insisted on driving them home himself. His sleek town car looked absurdly out of place on their modest Brooklyn street. Lucas pressed his nose against the window as they pulled up. Your car is really fancy, Mr. Dominic. It is just a car, buddy. Dominic smiled at him through the rearview mirror. What matters is where it takes you, not what it looks like. Mommy's car is really old and makes funny noises sometimes, but she says it has personality. Dominic caught Maya's eye. She looked away. Cars with personality are the best kind, he said seriously. They have stories to tell. The apartment looked different through Dominic's eyes. Maya watched him take in the cramped living room, the ancient furniture, the water stain on the ceiling that the landlord kept promising to fix. Shame burned in her chest. This was what 7 years of struggle looked like. This was the life she had built on her own. I know it is not much, she heard herself saying, but it is home. Dominic turned to her with an expression that made her breath catch. This is the home where you raised our son, where you taught him to walk and talk and be the incredible person he is. This is the most important place in the world to me. Maya did not know how to respond to that. Lucas tugged on Dominic's sleeve. Do you want to see my room? I have all my drawings on the walls. Mommy says I'm going to be an artist when I grow up. I would love to see your room. Maya watched them disappear down the short hallway, Dominic's tall frame ducking slightly to avoid the low doorway. She heard Lucas's excited chatter and Dominic's interested questions, the sound of her son showing off his artwork to his father for the first time. She should be happy. She should be grateful that Lucas was finally getting the paternal attention he deserved. Instead, she felt like she was standing on the edge of a cliff, uncertain whether she was about to fly or fall. The days that followed established a new pattern. Dominic came to visit every afternoon. He brought groceries that just happened to include all of Lucas's favorite foods. He helped with homework. He read bedtime stories in a voice that made Lucas giggle with delight. He was patient, consistent, present in a way that Maya had not expected. But he also gave her space, never pushed for more than she was willing to give, never tried to overstep the boundaries she had established. It was unsettling, this new version of Dominic. The man she remembered had been intense, passionate sometimes, overwhelming in his devotion. This version was calmer, more controlled, as if 7 years of loss had taught him the value of restraint. 3 weeks after her hospital stay, Maya found herself alone with Dominic while Lucas played at a friend's house down the street. They sat in her small kitchen, coffee cooling between them, the silence stretching with words unspoken. You have been different, Maya finally said. Since you came back, you are not the same person I remember. Dominic wrapped his hands around his mug, staring into the dark liquid. I am not. I spent 7 years becoming someone different, someone who understands what really matters. What happened? After I left, everything fell apart. and then I had to put myself back together. Tell me. Dominic was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was raw with old pain. When I realized you were gone, I went a little crazy. I blamed my mother, and I was not wrong to blame her, but I also blamed myself. I threw myself into finding you with an obsession that scared everyone around me. I stopped sleeping, stopped eating, stopped caring about anything except bringing you home. Maya's throat tightened. After 6 months, my CFO staged an intervention. The company was hemorrhaging money. Deals were falling through. Employees were quitting. He told me that if I did not get myself together, everything my family had built would collapse. So you chose the company? No. Dominic shook his head. I chose survival, because at that point, I was not sure I wanted to keep living. The company gave me something to focus on, something to build, something that was not just emptiness and regret. I did not know. How could you? You were gone. And I was too proud to let anyone see how broken I really was. What about your mother? Dominic's expression hardened. I cut her off completely. After what she did, after what she tried to do to you, I could not bear to be in the same room with her. She tried to reach out over the years, tried to pretend that none of it happened, but I never forgave her. I never will. She is still alive, as far as I know. I do not keep track anymore. Maya processed this information. The Dominic she had known was devoted to his family despite their dysfunction. The idea that he had cut off his own mother was almost impossible to imagine. You really changed. I had to. The person I was before let the woman he loved disappear. The person I was before cared too much about legacy and not enough about love. I could not be that person anymore. Not after losing you. And now I am trying to be better. Trying to be the man you believed I was before everything went wrong. The father Lucas deserves. The person I should have been all along. Maya stood and walked to the window, looking out at the street below. Children played on the sidewalk. Cars passed slowly. Normal life continued, oblivious to the earthquake happening in her small apartment. I am scared, she admitted without turning around. I am scared of trusting you again. Scared of letting Lucas love you too much. Scared that this is all going to fall apart and we will be worse off than before. Dominic rose and moved to stand behind her. Not touching, just present. I understand, and I cannot promise that nothing will ever go wrong. I cannot promise perfection, but I can promise that I will show up every day, no matter what. I will be here for Lucas, and, if you will let me, for you. Why, after everything? Why do you still want this? Because the first love you. Dominic's voice was simple and sure. I never stopped loving you, Maya. Not for a single day in 7 years. And now that I have found you again, now that I know about Lucas, I am not going to waste this second chance. Maya finally turned to face him. They were close now. Close enough that she could see the faint lines around his eyes that had not been there 8 years ago. Close enough to smell that expensive cologne that still made her head swim. I am not ready for anything romantic. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I know. I need to focus on Lucas, on recovering, on figuring out what my life looks like now. I know that too. Then what are you asking for? Time. Just time. To be in your life. To be in Lucas's life. To prove that I am worth trusting again. Whatever form that takes, whatever pace you need, I will accept it. And if I decide I can never trust you again, if I decide that co-parenting from a distance is all I can offer, then I will accept that too. Because being Lucas's father, even from a distance, is more than I ever dared hope for. Maya studied his face, looking for the lie, looking for the angle, looking for the Dominic who had agreed to destroy her in his mother's library. She did not find him. Maybe he really was gone. Maybe this version of Dominic was who he had been trying to become all along. Maybe the man she had fallen in love with 8 years ago had finally emerged from the shadow of his family's expectations. Okay, she said finally. We can try. One day at a time. No promises about the future. Just showing up for Lucas and seeing where that leads. Dominic's smile was like sunrise breaking through storm clouds. That is all I am asking for. If this moment is hitting you the way it is hitting me, I need you to do something right now. Hit that like button. Share this video with someone who has been hurt by misunderstandings. And drop a comment telling me what you would do in Maya's position. Would you give Dominic a chance, or would the pain of the past be too much to over? I read every single comment, and I am genuinely curious about your perspective. Now, let me tell you about the moment Lucas learned the truth about his father, because nothing tests a parent like explaining impossible choices to an innocent child. 6 weeks had passed since Maya's collapse. The routine had become familiar now. Dominic arrived every afternoon around 4, just as Lucas was getting home from school. They would do homework together, play games, sometimes just talk about Lucas's day. Then Dominic would stay for dinner, help with bedtime, and leave only after Lucas was asleep. It was domestic in a way that made Maya's heart ache. Lucas was thriving. The sad, uncertain boy who used to ask about his father had transformed into someone confident and secure. He laughed more, worried less, slept through the night without nightmares about his mother collapsing. But he was also smart, dangerously smart, and he had started asking questions that were increasingly difficult to deflect. "Mommy," he said one evening while Dominic was in the kitchen cleaning up after dinner. "Mr. Dominic looks like me." Maya's hands stilled on the book she had been reading. "What do you mean, baby?" His eyes. Lucas tapped his own face. "They are the same color as mine, and he has the same chin thing. The sticky out part. Stubborn chin." Maya corrected automatically, her heart pounding. "Yeah, that. And he is really tall, and I am the tallest in my class. And he knows all about business, and I like business too. And..." Lucas paused, his young face scrunched with concentration. "And when he looks at me, he looks sad sometimes. Like he misses me even when I am right there." Maya did not know what to say. The moment she had been dreading and anticipating in equal measure had arrived. "Lucas, sweetheart, come sit with me." He climbed onto the couch beside her, his expression serious. "Is Mr. Dominic my daddy?" The question hung in the air. Maya heard the water shut off in the kitchen, heard Dominic's footsteps pause just outside the living room. She looked toward the doorway and saw him standing there, his face uncertain. He had heard the question. The choice of how to answer was hers. "Yes," Maya said finally, turning back to her son. "Dominic is your daddy." Lucas's eyes went wide. "Really? Really? Then why was he not here before? Why did we not have a daddy when all the other kids had daddies? Why did you not tell me?" Maya took a deep breath. "It is a complicated story, sweetheart. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes. Sometimes they misunderstand each other and do things they wish they could take back. Did you and Daddy have a misunderstanding?" "We did. A very big one. And because of that misunderstanding, Mommy left before Daddy knew you were going to be born." Lucas's brow furrowed. "So Daddy did not know about me?" "No, baby. He did not know. If he had known, he would have been here. He would have been here every day." Lucas turned to look at Dominic, who had moved into the room but stayed near the doorway, giving them space. "Is that true? You did not know about me?" Dominic's voice was thick with emotion. "I did not know, and finding out about you was the best thing that ever happened to me. I am so sorry I was not here for you, Lucas. I would have given anything to be here." Lucas was quiet for a long moment, processing information that was far too complex for a 6-year-old. But he was Maya's son, which meant he was also Dominic's son, which meant he was brilliant and resilient and stronger than anyone gave him credit for. "Are you going to stay now?" "Yes." Dominic moved closer, kneeling to be at Lucas's level. "I am going to stay. I am going to be here for every birthday, every school play, every time you need help with homework or want someone to play catch with. I am never leaving again." "What about Mommy?" Lucas looked between his parents. "Are you going to marry her again?" Maya and Dominic exchanged a glance. She saw the hope in his eyes and felt an answering flutter in her chest that she quickly suppressed. "Mommy and Daddy are still figuring things out," Maya said carefully. "But no matter what happens between us, we both love you very much. And you will always have 2 parents who are here for you." Lucas considered this. Tommy's parents are divorced. He sees his dad on weekends. "Is that what is going to happen to us?" "Your situation is different, sweetheart. Daddy and Mommy were not married when you were born. We are not getting divorced because we were never together in the official way. But you could get married now, right?" Maya sighed. "It is not that simple, baby." "Why not?" "You love Daddy. I can tell. And Daddy loves you. He looks at you the way Prince Eric looks at Ariel and the Little Mermaid. So why cannot you just get married and live happily ever after?" out of the mouths of babes. Dominic smiled gently at his son. Sometimes love is not enough, buddy. Sometimes people need time to heal from being hurt. Mommy was hurt very badly, and she needs time to trust me again. That is fair. I would need time too if someone hurt me the way she was hurt. But you did not mean to hurt her. Right? I did not mean to. But sometimes we hurt people even when we do not intend to. And the hurt is still real, even if it was an accident. Lucas nodded slowly. Like when I broke Mommy's favorite mug. I did not mean to, but she was still sad. Exactly like that. Except Daddy broke something much more important than a mug. What did you break? Mommy's heart. Lucas's eyes went wide. He turned to his mother with concern. Is your heart still broken, Mommy? Maya felt tears prick her eyes. It is healing, sweetheart. It gets better every day. Maybe Daddy can help fix it. Lucas suggested. He is really good at fixing things. He helped me fix my robot last week when the arm fell off. Maybe. Maya smiled through her tears. We will see. I think he can, Lucas declared with the confidence of childhood certainty. Because when he looks at you, he looks like he would do anything to make you happy. And that is what people who fix hearts do. Dominic caught Maya's eye over their son's head. She saw everything there. The love, the regret, the hope, the determination. And for the first time since that night in the hospital, she allowed herself to feel something other than fear. The weeks turned into months. Dominic bought the building that housed Maya's apartment. She did not find out until the landlord mentioned that the new owner had approved all her repair requests, including the ceiling that had been leaking for 3 years. You bought my building? I bought an investment property, Dominic replied innocently. That happens to be in a neighborhood I have become quite fond of. You are impossible. I am resourceful. There is a difference. He also funded a scholarship for young dancers at the studio where Maya had once taught. Anonymous, of course, but she recognized his hand in the way the program was structured. And when Lucas needed glasses, the best pediatric optometrist in the city somehow had an opening that same week. You are trying to buy your way into my good graces. Maya accused him one evening. I am trying to make up for 7 years of absence. There is a difference. There is not that much difference. Maybe not. Dominic conceded. But I have to try, Maya. I have to do something with all this money besides watch it accumulate. And if that something is making your life a little easier, making Lucas's life a little better, then it feels like the money is finally serving a purpose. I do not need your money. I know you do not need it. You have proven that. You kept yourself and our son alive for 7 years with nothing but determination and sacrifice. You are the strongest person I have ever met. But strength should not mean suffering alone. Let me help carry the weight. Maya wanted to argue, wanted to maintain the independence she had fought so hard to build. But she was tired, so tired. And having someone share the burden, even a little bit, felt like finally being able to breathe after years underwater. Okay, she said finally. But on my terms, always on your terms. And if I want to pay you back someday, you let me. Dominic smiled. When you become the most famous choreographer in the world and your shows are selling out on Broadway, you can treat me to coffee. Deal. Spring arrived in New York with its usual chaos of rain and flowers and tourists clogging the subway. Lucas turned 7 with a party at the park, surrounded by school friends, and his parents and a sense of belonging he had never known before. Dominic had wanted to rent out an entire venue. Maya had insisted on keeping things simple. They compromised with a picnic in Central Park, a homemade cake, and more balloons than any child could possibly need. This is the best birthday ever, Lucas announced, chocolate frosting smeared across his face. Better than last year? Maya asked. Way better. Last year I wished for a daddy and thought it would not come true. This year my wish already came true, so I got to wish for something else. What did you wish for? Lucas grinned. I am not supposed to tell or it will not happen, but I will give you a hint. He looked meaningfully at his parents. It is about you two. Maya felt her cheeks flush. Lucas, what? I am just saying, you guys should get married. Then we could all live together, and I would not have to miss Daddy when he goes home at night. Your father and I are doing fine, the way things are. But fine is not the same as happy. And I want you to be happy, Mommy. You have been sad for a long time. You think I do not notice, but I notice everything. Maya's heart clenched. Her 6-year-old, now 7-year-old, had spent his whole life watching her struggle, worrying about her, trying to take care of her when he should have been carefree and innocent. "I am happier now than I have been in years," Maya said honestly. "That is because of you and because of your father. Then why not be even happier? Why not try? Because happiness is not guaranteed, baby. And sometimes trying means risking even more pain. But not trying means definitely being less happy. So which one is the bigger risk?" Maya looked at Dominic, who was watching their son with an expression of wondering pride. "When did you get so wise?" "I read a lot," Lucas shrugged. "Books teach you stuff about life, like how the people who are scared to take risks are the ones who miss out on the best adventures." "And which books taught you that?" "All of them, basically. That is like the main message of every story." Dominic laughed, the sound warm and full. "He is definitely your son, Maya. That logical approach to emotional problems. He is our son," Maya corrected softly. "And he is right. About most of it anyway." Dominic's eyes met hers. The question in them was clear. Maya took a breath. "Would you like to have dinner with me? Just us. No Lucas. An actual date." Dominic's smile could have lit up the entire city. "I thought you would never ask." Their first official date was nothing like the grand gestures of their early relationship. No fancy restaurants or champagne or 5-star hotels. Just a small Italian place in Brooklyn that Maya loved because the owner always gave Lucas extra breadsticks. A corner table with a candle stuck in an empty wine bottle. The sounds of a normal evening surrounding them. "This is not what I expected," Dominic admitted, looking around at the checkered tablecloths and family photos on the walls. "Is that a complaint? Not even slightly. This is perfect. This is real." Maya smiled. "That is what I was going for. I spent so much of our early relationship in your world. Now you get to see mine. I should have seen it sooner. I should have understood that your world, this world, is where real life happens, not in penthouses and galas and boardrooms. You could not have known. You grew up in that other world. It was all you knew. That is not an excuse." Dominic reached across the table and took her hand. "I should have tried harder to understand, should have listened more, should have seen that you were overwhelmed by everything my family represented. We both made mistakes." Maya did not pull her hand away. "The difference is that now we know better. So what happens now? Now we eat overpriced pasta and talk like normal people. We do not try to solve 7 years of problems in one evening. We just try to remember what it felt like to be happy together." "I remember." Dominic's thumb traced circles on her palm. "I never forgot. Neither did I. That was part of the problem. I could not forget you, no matter how hard I tried." "Then stop trying." The words hung between them. Maya studied the man across the table, the gray at his temples that had not been there 8 years ago, the laugh lines that suggested he had found some joy despite everything, the way he looked at her like she was still the most important thing in his world. "I am scared," she admitted. "I spent so long protecting myself from you, from the pain of loving you. I do not know how to stop." "Then do not stop." Dominic leaned forward. "Be scared. Be cautious. Question everything. But let me prove myself anyway. Let me earn your trust one day at a time. And maybe someday the fear will be smaller than the love." That sounds like a fairy tale. Lucas would say fairy tales are just stories that have not come true yet. Maya laughed despite herself. "Using our son's wisdom against me. That is unfair. Everything is fair in love and war. And this, Maya, is definitely love." She looked at him for a long moment. "Okay," she finally said. "We try, really try. Not just co-parenting, not just being friendly. We actually try to build something new, something new." Dominic agreed. "Not what we had before. Something better, something stronger, something built on everything we have learned. And if it does not work, then we will still be Lucas's parents. We will still be there for him. We will still be grateful for the family we have, even if it does not look the way we hoped. You have thought about this a lot. I have thought about nothing else for months." Dominic squeezed her hand. "I love you, Maya. I have loved you for 8 years, and I will love you whether you are my partner or my CO parent, or just the mother of my child. But I am hoping, with everything I have, that you will let me love you as all of those things. One step at a time. One step at a time." They finished their dinner as the restaurant filled with the evening crowd. They talked about Lucas and work and dreams they had shelved and dreams they were rebuilding. They talked like two people getting to know each other again, which was exactly what they were. And when Dominic walked Maya home, pausing at her door in the soft glow of the street lamp, he did not try to kiss her, did not push for more than she was ready to give. Good night, Maya. Good night, Dominic. Same time tomorrow? Same time tomorrow. It was not a fairy tale ending. It was something better. It was a beginning. The months that followed were not perfect. There were arguments about parenting decisions and old wounds that still ached in moments when the weight of the past felt too heavy to carry. There were times when Maya retreated into old patterns of self-protection and times when Dominic's intensity overwhelmed her carefully rebuilt boundaries. But there was also growth. Dominic learned to give Maya space without interpreting it as rejection. Maya learned to ask for help without seeing it as weakness. They both learned to communicate in ways they never had before, saying what they meant, listening without defending, apologizing without excuses. Lucas watched it all with the satisfied expression of a child whose birthday wish was coming true in slow motion. "You are getting better at this," he observed one evening when his parents were cooking dinner together. "Better at what, buddy?" "Being a family. You used to be really awkward around each other. Now you are normal awkward, like regular parents." Dominic laughed. "Thank you for that assessment. You are welcome. I am very observant. We know." Maya ruffled his hair. "Too observant sometimes. That is because I want to make sure you are both happy. If you are happy, I am happy. That is how families work." The simplicity of his logic was unassailable. "We are happy," Maya said, and for the first time in years, she meant it. "We are getting happier all the time." "Good. Then when are you getting married?" "Lucas." "What?" "I am just asking. Tommy says you have been dating for like a year now." "That is long enough. These things take time, sweetheart." "But how much time?" "I am already 7. By the time you get married, I will be old." 7 is not old. It feels old. I have responsibilities now. School and homework and making sure you two do not mess this up. Dominic caught Maya's eye and grinned. "We would not dare mess it up. Not with you supervising. You better not. I have invested a lot of effort in this relationship." "Have you now?" "Obviously. Who do you think keeps leaving hints about romantic restaurants and suggesting you guys go on more dates?" "That is all me." Maya's jaw dropped. "The brochure for that spa weekend that mysteriously appeared in my bag? Me. I took it from the nail salon where Mrs. Patterson goes. The article about rekindling romance that was on the coffee table? Me again. I printed it at the library. The candlelit dinner suggestion for Valentine's Day?" Lucas grinned triumphantly. "I told Daddy that you said it would be romantic, even though you never actually said it. But I knew you would think it was romantic. And I was right." Dominic looked at his son with newfound respect. "You have been manipulating us this entire time." "I prefer the term guiding. Manipulation sounds bad. I was guiding you toward happiness. It is what good kids do." Maya and Dominic exchanged a look that contained equal parts horror and admiration. "We created a monster," Dominic said. "A brilliant monster," Maya agreed, "who apparently inherited his father's strategic thinking and his mother's determination. And I use my powers for good," Lucas pointed out. "Not evil. So you should probably thank me." "Thank you for meddling in our relationship?" "You are welcome." Maya pulled her son into a hug, laughing despite herself. "You are impossible. I am effective. There is a difference." 6 months later, on a quiet evening in late autumn, Dominic did not take Maya to a fancy restaurant or a rooftop with a view. He did not arrange for fireworks or musicians or any of the grand gestures his money could easily buy. Instead, he took her to the kitchen of her small Brooklyn apartment, the same kitchen where she had collapsed 2 years earlier, the same kitchen where Lucas had made a desperate phone call that changed all their lives. "Maya," Dominic said, dropping to one knee on the worn linoleum floor. "I have practiced this speech 100 times. I have tried to find words that capture everything I feel, everything I want for our future, everything you mean to me, Dominic. But the truth is, there are no words big enough. So I will just say this. I love you. I have always loved you. And I want to spend the rest of my life making up for the years we lost. I want to wake up next to you every morning and fall asleep beside you every night. I want to be Lucas's father in every official way. I want to build a family with you, however that looks, whatever that means. He opened a small box. The ring inside was not the ostentatious diamond she might have expected. It was a simple band with a stone that caught the kitchen light and threw rainbows across the walls. This was my grandmother's ring. My real grandmother. My father's mother, who my mother despised because she came from nothing and married into the family anyway. She wore this ring for 50 years. She told me once that love was not about where you came from, but where you were going together. Maya's vision blurred with tears. Maya Rivera, will you marry me? Not because of what my family expects or what society thinks, but because I cannot imagine my life without you in it. Because you are my home. Because every day with you is better than any day without you. Maya looked at this man who had broken her heart and spent 2 years carefully putting it back together. This man who had learned to be a father and was still learning to be a partner. This man who had chosen her over everything else. Over and over again. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I will marry you. Dominic slid the ring onto her finger and rose to pull her into his arms. They stood there in the kitchen, holding each other while tears streamed down both their faces. The door to Lucas's room creaked open. Did she say yes? His small face appeared around the corner, eyes wide with anticipation. She said yes. Dominic confirmed. Lucas pumped his fist in the air. Finally, I have been waiting forever. Maya laughed through her tears. Were you listening the whole time? Obviously. I had to make sure Daddy did not mess up his speech. I helped him practice, you know. You did? He made me rehearse it like 20 times. Lucas walked into the kitchen and joined the embrace, wrapping his small arms around both his parents. This is the best day ever. We are a real family now. We were always a real family. Maya kissed the top of his head. Now we are just making it official. And we are going to live together? Yes, Dominic said. We are all going to live together. Can I have a bigger room? We will see. Can I have a dog? We will discuss it. Can I have a baby brother? Maya and Dominic exchanged a look. Slow down, buddy. One life change at a time. Fine, but I'm putting it on my birthday wish list for next year. Just so you know. Duly noted. The wedding was small and intimate. No society pages or elaborate venues. Just family and friends gathered in a park on a perfect spring day. Maya wore a simple white dress that made her look like she was floating. Dominic wore a suit that was expensive but not ostentatious. And Lucas walked his mother down the aisle with all the dignity an 8-year-old could muster. I am giving you away now, he announced when they reached Dominic. Take good care of her. I am watching you. The guests laughed. Dominic nodded solemnly. I will take the best care of her. I promise. Good. Because if you make her cry again, I know people. You know people? Mrs. Patterson and her book club. They are very protective of Mommy. I will keep that in mind. The ceremony was brief but meaningful. They wrote their own vows. Dominic promised to show up every day, no matter what. Maya promised to trust him enough to let him. And then they kissed, and they were married, and Lucas cheered louder than anyone. The reception was in Maya's favorite Italian restaurant, with breadsticks for everyone and a cake that Lucas had helped design. There were toasts and tears and laughter. There was dancing, real dancing. Maya showing everyone that the body that had grown, tired from exhaustion, was still capable of beauty when given the chance to move. There was also a moment near the end of the night when Dominic found Maya standing by the window, looking out at the city lights. Penny, for your thoughts? I was thinking about the day I fainted. Maya turned to face her husband. If Lucas had not accidentally called you, we might never have found each other again. He saved us all. He did. Maya smiled. A wrong number that turned out to be exactly right. Maybe there are no wrong numbers. Maybe every call we make, every connection we reach for, is part of some bigger plan. That is very philosophical for a CEO. I have hidden depths. I know you do. That is why I married you. Dominic pulled her close. I love you, Maya Ashford. She smiled at her new name. I love you too, Dominic Ashford. Now and always. Now and always. They stood there in the window, watching the city sparkle, thinking about all the paths that had led them to this moment. The pain and the loss and the years apart. The misunderstanding that had cost them so much. The love that had somehow survived it all. And in the restaurant behind them, Lucas was teaching the other kids a dance he had learned from his mother. His laughter rang through the room like music. Their family was complete. If this story touched your heart, I need you to do something for me right now. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another story like this. Share this video with someone who needs to believe in second chances. And drop a comment telling me the biggest lesson you took from Maya and Dominic's journey. Because here is what I want you to remember. Life is not perfect. Relationships are not perfect. People make mistakes and misunderstand each other, and sometimes those misunderstandings can separate us for years. But love, real love, does not give up. It waits. It hopes. It finds a way back, even when the road seems impossible. Maya spent 7 years believing she had been betrayed by the man she loved. Dominic spent 7 years mourning a woman he thought had chosen to leave him. And Lucas spent 7 years wishing for a father he did not know was wishing for him too. One phone call changed everything. One accidental moment of connection bridged years of separation. And one family proved that it is never too late to heal, never too late to trust again, never too late to choose love over fear. Sometimes the greatest gifts come from our greatest losses. Sometimes the universe puts exactly the right people in our path at exactly the right moment. And sometimes a 6-year-old boy with his father's eyes and his mother's. Courage can save everyone simply by pressing the wrong button on a phone. This is Mr. Brad reminding you that every story has the potential for redemption. Every heart has the capacity for forgiveness. And every family, no matter how broken, can find its way back to wholeness. Until next time, keep believing in second chances. Keep fighting for the people you love. And keep watching, because the best stories are still ahead.